Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. I think this is episode 12. I should probably check that before I start these things, and then I'll be able to say with some level of certainty. So I was looking at these positions, these satellites in polar orbits, and I was hoping we could do both of those in one get. And we might be able to, but they're going in opposite directions in this polar orbit, so it would be a painful trip to do that. There's no real great way to deal with it. However, we can combine this one because this one gives us science, so let's do that one. And let's also come down here and take a look at this one. Looked at this before. This gets us science. It's a sub-orbital trajectory, so that's pretty easy to achieve, especially if we're going to get a big giant orbit, this polar orbit anyways. So we'll go ahead and we're going to grab that as well. So that gives us actually 3 that we can do all at once. We can do the polar orbit one. On the way up, we're going to test this engine. And once we are in that polar orbit and it says, yay, you're cool, we're going to go ahead and just launch this out into the orbit of the sun, and we'll test this liquid fuel engine there. So I'm hoping we are going to get 3 for the price of 1 here. We shall see. Whoops. I took the liberty of pre-building this ship. So I'm hoping this will do the job. That's something I want to do slightly differently. I hope this all works when I take this apart. Whoops. I want this to come off with that engine. Yeah, I was afraid that was going to happen. All right, we'll just reattach these. Really? All right, good enough. All right. Go ahead and save that. I just wanted to make sure everything happened in the right order. Something screwy here, too. I want that and that to go at the same time. What is this? No, that's going at quite a different time. What is going on, please? Okay, so this is the top one. That's going to happen once we get into... Well, that'll happen when it needs to happen. Okay. I think we're set. All right, so one thing we have to do when we're doing a polar orbit is we need to launch sensibly to use the least amount of fuel. We're still going to use some fuel to line up with the right polar orbit, but unlike a regular orbit where we just kind of take off and go to the east, we're going to have to go south on this one. And so what we need to do is line up this. Well, I'm sorry. We're going to have... Where are we at? Where is our rocket ship? This shouldn't be this hard. That's in the middle of the desert, right? Here it is. There's Kerbal Space Center. Okay. This is what needs to be lined up to... Unfortunately, way on the other side now is as close as we're going to get to here. So let's go ahead and fast forward this a bit. The sad thing is as this moves, it wants to change my perspective, and I don't want my perspective to change. I want to be between these 2 lines. So I know I'm in the right place when the Space Center hits. And we're going to guess about there is pretty close. That is pretty close. I'm liking that. All right, let's launch, and then we are going to head south. And let's hope I did this right. Doing this kind of fast and this gravity turn. And the reason I'm doing that is because pretty soon there's going to be so much thrust coming out of these engines, and this thing's going to be going so fast that it's going to be hard to get it to turn over. So we're going to be a little more aggressive at this, but as this thing gets faster and faster and faster, it's going to start pulling this prograde back towards where we're headed. And that's fine. We actually need to start moving it down now anyways. And we're just going to keep kind of aiming at the... I want to get both up and sideways. We're going so fast at the moment that I just don't want to waste all that energy on this. This is a pretty cheesy build, as you can see, but, you know, you go with the parts you have, not the parts that you would like to have or will have at a future time. All right. I'm just going to start flying this thing about as sideways as possible. And I want to look up and see exactly where our apoapsis is. Oh, good. See, we're going way past where we need to be. We're actually kind of on target, so I'm just going to keep burning this up. All right, the next one is this one, which we're just going to basically activate the engine for a little bit. And then what I want to do is I just want to coast for a while. I know we're not where we need to be yet, but we want to have someplace it's here. There we are. So we're going to fire this thing, or test this thing rather, when that check mark appears, which is a while away. So we're going to fast forward to that just a little bit. And we run the test and we get it. That's a little bit risky on the fast forward. We are going to go ahead and jettison this engine. Now this one, we want to thrust limit it down to 0 so it doesn't start doing anything stupid. I don't think it will, because we're not really going to fire it. Also, we need to put out our antenna. And what I want to do now is kind of figure out where I'm at and where I want to burn to. And I'm going to wait till we get to the apoapsis, and we're just going to add a maneuver here. This probably isn't the most efficient way to do it. Well, maybe it is. It's not a horribly inefficient way, I don't think. We're just going to burn all the way out to there. And it's 1:44. But, what, 52 seconds, someplace in that neighborhood is what we need to wait for the node in to get to before we fire. So, fast forwarding to that point. And about there. We'll still have to wait a few seconds before we fire, and it's probably not all that critically important, but you get a lot of leeway for error in this game, and it's good because I tend to fast forward through burns and sorts of things. There it is. The only reason I put this relay stuff on here is I thought it would be, again, this thing's going to go into a solar orbit, so even though these are pretty weak by, you know, future standards of our communication, this may add to a little bit of the patchwork that we end up having in our communication system, because a lot of our communication system is just going to be by doing missions where we have to test things on a solar orbit or in, you know, on an escape trajectory from Kerbal or something like that. And so it may as well have communication capabilities to deal with future missions. And that's basically my attitude towards the thing. So we're doing here. We're doing pretty good here. I added a lot more science to this than it actually needed. In fact, the rest of the science is inside of this productive case. The reason I did that is because, again, we're going to be out in solar orbit. We can get some easy science and transmit it back. So we'll be taking care of that as well during this video. Don't have much left, and that's good enough. So we are roughly there. What we could do, and it's a little... I'm going to wait until later. I'm going to come out to the apoapsis here, and I'm going to burn down. Or burn prograde. And that is ugly. And I'm not really in the right place. That's where I should be lined up, but that's okay. That's what these are for. Burns a little bit of fuel. And it's just not the end of the world. Yeah, we're going to have to probably burn a little bit on the other side, but that's okay. Nope, that was the right one. That's close. We'll see how that goes, and once we get it, we'll make adjustments as we need. We have a long way to wait before this relatively short burn. So what I'm going to do is fast forward to it. No. There we go. Warp to next maneuver. And we'll be pretty close. We'll be about a minute out. We need to be about 15 seconds out. 15, 16, 17 seconds out. It doesn't really matter too much. We don't have to be, again, too precise. It's a big universe. And this might even let us have it. This might be close enough. If it isn't, well, we'll fix it. There we go. I think it may have... No, it didn't quite take it. No, it did take it. Did it? Yeah. All right. So that was easy. So while we're here, a couple of these you can do over and over again even when you're transmitting. And that would be the barometer. And I don't think... Oh, we have done it. The transmit is down to nothing. Probably it's this way too. All right, we must have done that in high orbit. I didn't remember doing it. I don't want to waste the other to the goo in this. I want to do in solar orbit. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to burn prograde. And in doing that, we should be able to get onto an escape trajectory. And we'll fast forward our way out to when we're in orbit of the sun. We will run the test on that engine, and we will then do a quick science grab. Okay. So that's going to be in some weird sort of orbit. Notice it's not so polar now. It has a little bit of a swing there. You can kind of see. But, yeah, not quite so much. It comes out that way, but relative to the sun, it's a different story. All right, we're going to fast forward to this until we see that it has, in fact, escaped. Whoops. Slowed that down way too much. There we are. Okay, we are on a solar orbit. So let's go ahead, zip down to our craft. Way down here, it should have it. We are in both of those places. We will grab this. Run test. Boom. Okay, while we're here, as I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and log pressure data and transmit that. And the one thing we have to watch on this is our electric charge. See, that burned almost half of it. So we may not have enough for all of this that I took. I didn't even think about that until just now. I'm going to speed up time just a little bit. It won't let me do it in time acceleration, but that did give most of our energy back. Log temperature, send that back. Don't know how good our solar panels are doing. We could do better by this. I don't know. Don't know if that helped or hindered. All right, again, we're going to fast forward. We're going to get all our energy back in the hope, beyond hope, that we have enough energy to transfer this, or transmit this. Transmit data. Here's hoping. Oh, it's done. It did work. Sweet. All right, we will do this again. We're going to wait until this thing fills up with electric charge. It has. Conduct materials study and transmit it. Here's where our... It's done. Oh, it's at a boarding. Oh, that hurts. I think... I'm going to allow partial, and then at least get some of this. Oh, I can't get some of this because we had to fast forward it again. Hold that thought. All right, full electric charge. We will review data. We will transmit it again. Let's try it. Well, I don't know how much of that we got. I don't know if this will let us complete it. Nah, we just don't have enough energy for it. That's too bad. Oh, well. Well, it was a good idea while it lasted. Nonetheless, we did get science out of this, and we completed 3 missions. So I really hope you enjoyed this little expedition into outer space with Kerbal Space Program. I think this is episode 12, did I say? And if you did enjoy it, please click the like button. Like buttons, the likes are really important to me. If you can click the like button, I would really appreciate it. Another thing that's really important to me is if you could please comment. The most important thing that I'd like to have you do, though, is subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate that. So thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Be safe.